Well, hello, welcome everybody to another Talkin' Esports Simracing show. And on the episode today, we're going to be talking about everything happening in the world of GT Sport. As a lot of you know, there's a lot of anger, a lot of frustration, a lot of disappointment in the way Polyphony Digital have implemented the current penalty system. It's been an ongoing saga that's been building up for a few weeks now, and we've had some developments in the last couple of hours, days, so to speak. So I wanted to get everyone together. I wanted to sort of take you through that story and show you, if you're not so familiar with it, what's happening. And if you are in the middle of all this storm, I want to hear from you. I want to hear what your take on all this is. But let's talk about this and some of the issues that arise because of the way Polyphony Digital, they're a bit of a quiet company. We never really hear from them. I know not many people know where to go. Who do we, if we on Twitter, who do we include? On Facebook, where do we go to vent our frustrations? I know we're all stuck at home in this coronavirus thing, but and maybe more of us now are getting a little bit cabin feverish and complaining a little bit more, but we're going to complain some more here tonight, and let's see what happens here. So anyway, there's been a lot of outrage. Penalty system, it's not working, and one of the big things has been some of the World Tour players, finalists, they're being very vocal about it. This one's from Fabian Portilla, sorry. He said, "We've had enough. It must be fixed. I want to ask everyone, gently to everyone, to stop racing until the changes. It is the only way we can do something about this. Please fix GT Sport." And he went along and tagged a lot of the well-known GT Sport players, Mick Hazal, Tigney. Yeah, so just he wanted to start a boycott. And there was a bit of a reaction out there to it. We've got some here saying, "I have stopped the game until they fix these issues." I wrote in Jim Bracer tweet as well. It's a great post he has done. Another one, "You've got my word. I'm hopping onto this bandwagon for the sake of PD involvement in fixing all the problematic stuffs. I will not be racing in the FIA GTC until the issues are fixed." I also did a tweet about it. We need to stop. So there was it was building. It was getting really, really vocal. A lot of talented and mid-level players, even myself, I was starting to notice that the game was not fun. This was the big problem. The game was not fun anymore to play. You couldn't race hard. You couldn't go up beside someone and chuck a nose in there or just rub a door, because you'd get a 4-second penalty. If you got knocked off track, you'd get a 4-second penalty. There's probably plenty of other crazy stories out there, but basically it just wasn't working and the community had had enough. This is from Adam Siswillo. He said, "Issue number 2, strength of Slipstream. This is what happens when you sacrifice yourself and don't use the Slipstream in the quali. A good lap from me, only 2/10 off my PB." And he tagged Gran Turismo and Kaz in there. So you can see he's down here in 14th, 2/10 off. Everybody, this one hasn't really been talked about as much, but this one is building as well. But I think all the talk about the penalty system sort of overpowered this one. But another one, he said, "How about a 10-second penalty for pitting? Fix the penalties." He went into the pit lane at a pretty high speed, and when he exited, SR down arrow, 10-second penalty, and that's what's popped up there. Another one from Nicholas Rubelar. He posted, "Didn't know side-by-side was illegal. Please, Gran Turismo, work the penalties before the official season begins." And there it is, a 2-second penalty. You can see just the reaction on the face there. All he did, rubbed a driver. Just door-to-door rubbing, 2-second penalty. There's nothing wrong with that. It was clean driving. But as you can see, everyone was getting pretty much just penalised for doing what they like to do. This is the Kai. He's a well-known GT Sport streamer. He's got, I'd say, quite a following in this community, and this is what he had to say about the situation before we saw the changes that happened just about 12, maybe 24 hours ago. He said, "This is very hard for me as I took a break yesterday and did want to race, but the current situation is so bad that I'm going to stand with the community and until it's resolved. This is a hard choice for me as YouTube is my job and the current situation is not the best." He was replying also to the Fabian tweet. David Perel, who's so active in sim racing and the GT Sport ACC side of things, and I think the Kai and David, they've got a pretty good relationship. He said, "Replace it with ACC for the time being." Kai said, "Already itching to get back on. Physics is so immersive, and ACC is. It is. But there's just a simplistic beauty about GT Sport that we all know and love, and that's why we're so annoyed." Just some responses. Respect the decision. Maybe room for an alternative league. I'm curious, how is the penalty system on other games? iRacer, for example. Kai just said better. I'd probably have to agree. It's been a while since I've been on iRacing. What do you think? If you're a common iRacer, better, worse, the same, needs work, let me know. Need to see how the open lobbies in ACC. I think I'll be doing mainly comp servers as they're apparently very good for online racing, but yes, need to figure it out for the future. I feel like I'm at a crossroad as well, but with me, this is the only game that I make videos for. Do I just stop and risk losing all the progress? Do I only do lobbies or just dailies? It's something I'll have to think about. This sucks. This one, Medi said, "In my opinion, if you can skip the sport mode, would be the best. I'll still race in lobbies because it's a bit our custom sport mode. Tonight I have a race for a French championship where we removed that penalty system, have a group to make decisions on bad moves." So yeah, live stewarding, not all of us can do that, but if you've got the resources and the personnel, crack on with it. Nick Macmillan, he's been very vocal. He says he loves playing it, and he laid out his issues, said the penalty system, the slipstream unrealistic, the BOP's uneven, too many FIA round slots. We've talked about that one. If you want to hear what I have to say, video top over there, it'll be popping up. I'll make sure I get the tag. But then this happened. We got a tweet, and I've never seen this sort of response from Polyphony. This is from Toyo Teramoto. He is the GT Sport race director for the live events, and he tweeted in Japanese and then in English, "There was a technical problem with the penalty, so I'm sorry to fix it late. We will continue to adjust the penalty system in the future." Because he linked to an update on the GT Sport website, which went over all of the updates. It was also they also Facebooked it as well. They said, "We've made some changes to the penalty system. Thank you for your continued support." And it was very, very interesting to see just the average community response. People saying they've dropped SR, DR a lot. I want the qualifying handling to be the same as the race. What is the point in practicing and then it feels like you're driving a different car? That's another issue too. The handling is different. I always complain about it, and Ross is on to something here. Joey, I was doing a battle for fourth with a Viper, and Mercedes that was in front of the Viper spun out by himself with nobody touching him at all, and I didn't pass anyone since it was a caution, and I got a 4-second penalty. That's happened to me too. So that's obviously another issue. That I don't know if that's been fixed in this update, but that's something that has been bugging me. Some people saying thank you for it. Bartek said, "But don't you think that everything is fine now? Servers, question mark, people are getting disconnected, and the same punish them with DISR down in qualifying. Fuel burning and slipstreaming, basically do something, because majority of the play are annoyed with fuel burning nonsense." And I think that's why they downed the time for the qualifying round. But you can see it's not just penalties that are people getting annoyed at. There's a lot going on. But I think the penalties was the biggest issue, and it's good to see that they did do something about it. Now let's go to the GT Sport website and show you that announcement. So on the 20th of March, so it was just about 24 hours ago since I'm recording this. They said adjustments have been made to the system issuing penalties in sport mode and lobbies. It says the penalty judgment algorithm in regards to light contacts and collisions during online races has been adjusted. We apologise for the inconvenience, and we want to reassure that we are constantly making improvements to the penalty system. So that was done just before the Nations Cup, which goes off today. In Australia, it's already done. Over in the States, over in the Northern Hemisphere, you guys will be doing it in just a few hours as I record this. So I'm very interested to see what you guys think of it. And one way we can sort of gauge community reaction is the GT Planet forums. It's usually a pretty good indicator of how things are going. Now here was one that I picked up straight away. So just tested the new system, and I have good and bad news. Now let's go to the good news. Minimal contact does not generate stupid penalties for the victim anymore. I've seen front, rear and side to side contact, and both cars get off scot-free, which is a thumbs up. Bang on. Even moderate contact seems safe as well. Someone ran out of fuel on the last corner and the guy behind him hit quite hard accidentally. Neither got penalised. Yeah, if you were bump drafting or if you just tagged the guy in front as well, you would get 2, maybe 4 second penalty for that, and it ruined one of my races the other week. So I know that's going to be hurting everyone. So that's good news that that's out. Bad news. It seems they went the other way, and it's quite hard to get a penalty now. I've seen a last corner dive bomb which goes unpunished, but at least the victim doesn't get a penalty now. Usually if you were dive bombed and you were the one spiraling off into the barrier, it was you that got the penalty. The guy that hit you, scot-free. So now you both get off scot-free. But yeah, it looks like they've tweaked it a little bit too far back the other way. Look, I don't know how the penalty system works, so to speak, or what the algorithm is working on, or the computational power between the PlayStation and the server, if it's a server-side thing or a client-side thing that's worked out and sent to the server. I don't know, but it just seems that they just can't quite seem to get this right. He said, so as long as everyone behaves and can self-police, we can self-police clean racing. Unfortunately, if there's a dirty driver, he would probably still get away with a lot of pushing and bumping. But on the positive, you won't get unfairly penalised and can always get him again later on. That I do not condone. I get why you'd want to do it, but I do not condone it. He just made an extra comment saying, a shame that it took a mass boycott threat from the top drivers and front page news on the largest GT website for Polyphony Digital to take action. Yes, GT Planet did make an article about this. For the past 2 seasons, I've been harping on about the penalty system in my star player registration, but I guess PD just doesn't care unless you're the elite few. That could be true. I mean, I'm not a very quick driver, but in my region anyway, for Ferrari, I can manage to always get my star player. I got it again this season. I don't know. So they give you an option, I think, to just write a little bit of a comments or opinions or something. That's what he's talking about there. Clearly, I guess, I don't know. This is a thing. PD, they don't talk back. They're not very. I mean, what they've done here is a little bit better, but there are other companies out there, some that don't seem to talk very often at all, but they still do a better job. They will come out and say there's a patch coming. We know they'll acknowledge a problem. One company that I think are really good at this are Kunos Simulazioni. If you've got a problem with the game and you're on their Facebook, their Twitter, they're very vocal. They'll reply. They'll try and be very straight with you. They're pretty open on their forums as well. But PD, there is absolutely there's nothing. And I don't know if that's a cultural thing from Japan, or just a decision. But what it does is it starts these guessing games. So we all start to guess things. So I've been talking to a few of you on Discord, and it's quite obvious that time of day seems to affect traction. But There's nowhere that it says that. We have to figure that out for ourselves. Now, when we were watching a race last week with Race on Oz, you can see tyre degradation. You can see that if you get onto the marbles, you get less grip. These are things we're just observing. But again, there's no confirmation from Polyphony that these things are there. And I just wonder why they make it that way. Now, at the start of this forum, there's a whole bunch of hearsay going on. Not all of them are talking about it, but there's heaps of guessing going on about the algorithm. There's heaps of, oh, you say that, I say this, how do you know this is happening? People saying people talking like they know what's happening. Other people just there's conjecture. There's a whole bunch of this going on, and then it just causes arguments. PD, start talking to the community. Be a little bit more vocal about how you implement things, what you've implemented, what does what. I don't think these are state secrets or what's the word I'm looking for, like proprietary information that you need to hide deep within the company that you can't sell because competition might get a hold of it. Just let us know how things work. The community will be so much happier for it. Will be better. Everyone will be a lot better off racing, and yeah, there won't be things like this happening. Let's have a look. See, he gets tagged into the corner and a penalty. He did absolutely nothing wrong there. There's so many examples of things like this happening. So I know Lewis Bentley from Lazarus, he's been very vocal, and he said here at the end, if we can get communication like this more regularly from the PD team, frustration in the community will drop dramatically as the players feel like their feedback is being listened to. And he's right. He's been giving them a very hard time, and that's all they need to do. It's so good to hear that they've done something about it. At least they know. At least we know something's been done. It doesn't look like it has been fixed completely, but at least they've done something. Now, if they can keep continuing to talk to us from here on in and tell us what they're doing, even better. PD, I hope you learned from this, because your game's fantastic. I know a lot of other people out there watching this will probably think the same thing. So it's, again, we're happy to hear that it's been done. For those that are testing out the penalty system in the Nations Cup, please let me know in the comments what you think of the system. Is it fixed? Is it better? Or does it still need a little bit of work? Or is it worse? From what we've heard, it's gone back to the system where it's pretty hard to get a penalty. Does that mean the racing's better? I don't know, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on this one. So anyway, but just wanted to get out a little short podcast there on the penalty system. I'm going to be bringing a lot more opinion like this in the future, video and audio. So if you want to keep listening to Talking Esports here on Demo 1 Garage, don't forget to just hit subscribe, like. We've also got a lot of esports. I commentate a lot of racing out there. Love to have you along for that. We've got a website, demo1garage.com. That's the number one, Demo 1 Garage. And apart from keeping up to date with all the latest racing games, news, results from our own leagues, also try to keep you up with all the professional leagues. But until then, good night, and enjoy your racing.